Subscribe to Breakthrough Gaming and get your chance to win a copy, limited copy, Last of Us 2, which I'm not in.
The hug,
man. There you go, bud.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Keep watching.
Alright, so I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? I'm just kidding. Alright, let's start with the good news. The good news is that today is Outbreak Day, and today we're going to be getting more gameplay, more information, more character development, a little bit of everything in general. Now, the reason why this is a confirmed thing is because Naughty Dog even posted it themselves. September 26th on Outbreak Day, the coverage for The Last of Us Part 2 will begin, and the embargo is lifted. So it's been lifted now for an hour and a half. It's only 9:30 a.m. where I'm currently living at, so it is much earlier than the rest of the world. A lot of people are already posting hate comments stating that, oh, you were wrong, or ooh, you lied about the last video. No guys, Naughty Dog posted it themselves. Here's the proof on Twitter. So it's only a matter of time now before we start to see more commercials being rolled out, more information being rolled out. Make sure to stalk Instagram, make sure to stalk Twitter, make sure to check out a lot of different media and press related companies because more information for The Last of Us Part 2 is in effect as of right now. Alright, now on to the bad news. Now I must add this disclaimer before I even state what is about to be said. These bad news may very well be just another marketing tactic by Naughty Dog, just like Rockstar Games did it in Grand Theft Auto 5. Perhaps Naughty Dog is following in the same footsteps, and to be fair, to give Neil Druckmann and Anthony Newman credit, even though they're doing this to us, they have both emphasized, including in an interview today, yes today, Anthony Newman stated that they want us to focus on the storyline. Naughty Dog as a company, Neil Druckmann as a creative thinker, as an individual, Anthony Newman as a co-lead game designer, they are all telling us we want you to experience this beautiful storyline that The Last of Us Part 2 has to offer. So yes, so far out of any project that Naughty Dog has ever put their mind to, The Last of Us Part 2 surpasses everything combined and more. We're talking about budget, we're talking about employee, we're talking about manpower, we're talking about writing, we're talking about how in-depth, how intricate, how detailed The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be. We also have to keep in mind that they have added an open world element to The Last of Us Part 2, which in itself means much more work has to be put into the game and the masterpiece that they're trying to give us. So yes, in all fairness, all credit goes to Naughty Dog. We should be grateful and we should focus on the storyline and we need to enjoy it. But why the hell is Anthony Newman saying that the storyline is so amazing we're not going to give you multiplayer? That's pretty much the gist of the interview. The storyline is so amazing, so intricate, so detailed. We want you guys to focus on that. And by the way, there's no factions, no multiplayer, as of now, for now. What does that mean? Alright, first of all, don't freak out. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be a masterpiece either way. But there's something about multiplayer and there's something about The Last of Us community that we are all in love with factions. The Last of Us, out of all the games I've ever played, has the biggest cult following for multiplayers, for factions. You know, our beloved Nick A30, back in the day when I would talk to him on Skype, Discord, all he would dedicate himself to was multiplayer. And this is something that has been established for a long time. Any Nick A30 video you've seen is in regards to multiplayer 9 out of 10 times. We also have one of my favorite, if not my favorite Last of Us YouTuber, TLOU Strategist, who does multiplayer and dedicates himself to competitive gaming. The Reddit community on for multiplayer is very strong as well. Factions is something that we all simply loved. And Naughty Dog knows this. Neil Druckmann knows this. I mean, they're in charge of our servers. They know the numbers. They know how many people actually play The Last of Us. And if they paid attention to any video that was posted on YouTube in regards to The Last of Us Part 1, years after the release, 8, 9 out of 10 times, it was multiplayer. What kept this community thriving, what kept this community engaged and entertaining and going. So for them to take that away from us, it's just flat out wrong. And even though some of you guys might be okay with this, if you didn't really play multiplayer in The Last of Us Part 1, consider yourself lucky, because you're gonna lose absolutely nothing, and I have all the faith and belief. All my eggs are in Naughty Dog's basket that The Last of Us Part 2 is gonna be an amazing masterpiece. So express your opinion, go on Twitter, spam all the developers, developers for Naughty Dog and make your voice known. If they're really not going to make a multiplayer, which in my opinion, they're just lying to us because they've been playing, not playing, they've been developing multiplayer for years. We got hints of multiplayer being developed as early as I think it was March 2017. I have to collaborate that, so don't take my word for it right now. But for example, we also had an interview last year from Anthony Newman a year and a half ago where he stated that he couldn't wait for us to experience the multiplayer. So why is all this changing out of nowhere? I believe this is nothing more than a marketing tactic. Why would they invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into developing multiplayer concepts, designs, voices, maps, everything, and then change it at the last minute? What I think is going on here is that The Last of Us Part 2 is such a huge game that they're gonna force us to experience the storyline, truly appreciate the storyline, and then down the road they're gonna release multiplayer. But again, don't take my word for it. Don't risk it. Don't risk just being hopeful like I am being right now. Express yourself. Go on Instagram, spam everybody, and send me some screenshots. That'd be kind of fun just to see all the hype and momentum that we can build by complaining to Naughty Dog that they essentially need to rethink multiplayer if they're really deciding to scratch it and take it out of The Last of Us Part 2. We need to make them realize if this is not what they're doing themselves and they're just, doing another Naughty Dog thing, because Naughty Dog has been known to do things like this in the past. If they're not already doing this, we need to let them know, hey, you can still have us experience the campaign and appreciate the storyline for what it is. We're okay with waiting for multiplayer, but for fuck's sake, you better give us multiplayer, because that's just one of the main things that made The Last of Us Part 1 the great game that it came to be. Thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Breakthrough Gaming, your #1 source for The Last of Us Part 2, and I'm out. And give this video a thumbs up if you want. If you don't do it, because I'm pissed too, so I don't even blame you.